Good morning and, well, actually, good afternoon and assalamu alaikum. You are tuned into the mid-morning show with me, Fasiha Davids. I am your host for this week. And we have a very interesting guest next. She is the executive director for the Socio-Economic Rights Institute of South Africa. Nomzamo Zondo joins us. Good afternoon, Nomzamo. How are you today? All right. Seems like we are experiencing some technical.
I'm good. I hope that you're also well. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being with us. I see we are experiencing some technical difficulties, but we will try to stay connected. The Socio-Economic Rights Institute, SERI, said there have been no prosecutions for the deaths that occurred during the Marikana incident, and no one has been held to account for the physical and psychological injuries suffered by many individuals. And I quote, the failure to hold accountable those responsible for these deaths is a betrayal of the promise of justice. Not only does it dishonor the families of the deceased, but erodes trust in our justice system. Nomzamo Zondo, this is what you said in a previous interview, and this is after the Marikana massacre was commemorated yesterday. I mean, 13 years since the Marikana massacre, how do you assess the state's response in terms of accountability for those who gave the orders and for those who carried them out?
Look, I think one of the things that's important is how our clients saw the incident immediately after the take action to make sure that whoever is responsible accounts for the deaths. Yes, the people that we saw killing their loved ones were the police, so they were employees of the state. But they understood that if those people had not been sent to do what they had done, that there would be a response that firstly ensures that there's criminal prosecution of everyone who's involved and is responsible. Two, that there would be compensation to make sure that they do not sit with the loss that has been caused by those other people. And I think having then walked 13 years and continually disappointed by the state's failure to firstly acknowledge the wrongdoing, even of the police. I think one of the days I was reflecting and thinking back at how in the Commission of Inquiry, there was even a time when the police legal team challenged the families' presentation, saying the families can't say the police killed their loved ones. So we're saying, but this is a fact. But to then move on now to say 13 years through different administrations, there's been a complete failure. One, to prioritize the prosecution of those responsible, regardless of if they are on the boots on the ground in the police, anyone involved from Lonmin side or from the state side, to a situation where the police have had, where the families and even the surviving minors have had to fight tooth and nail to receive compensation for the loss that the state believe and have good faith on the side of the part of the state. It is their employees who killed 36 families that were represented in the one family that was represented by the Legal Resources Center. And it is for the state to account for those deaths.
Thank you for sharing that insight with us. Now, Nomzamo, I mean, you're speaking about the state, you're speaking about accountability. Do you believe that political leaders at that time should also face legal or moral accountability? And what does that look like now? How would you and your organization, but I think the broader mining community and the affected families be able to tackle that in the current time?
Look, I think the one difficult thing that the families waited for a long time for the state to take action against anyone, leave alone those who are who were responsible politically. But the one difficult thing is that the moral responsibility did not come about. And in fact, those who had been involved in Marikana almost were able to get a political dividend for their participation in Marikana. We know everyone always mentions that our current president, of the Minister of Police at that time, and those people after the massacre continue to rise in government, continue to rise within the ANC. So there was no moral accountability for what happened. And it isn't, I think, for the families who have always been grateful for the solidarity of many who stood with them in the Marikana support campaign, have been grateful for many South Africans who continue to call for justice, could not of themselves demand that moral accountability. More things that they've insisted on is truth-telling. Just for them to know, why did the massacre happen? And that's again part of the moral accountability that probably in 5 years time, in 10 years time, we want to be able to say to whom and when. One of the things that we know, even from the Marikana Commission of Inquiry, that there's a meeting of the police on the 15th of August, and that meeting of the police is the one that decided that it identifies that meeting, the minutes of that meeting, will be crucial to us understanding why we ended up with 34 people dead on the 16th of August. And it is now, for instance, for those who now sit outside of power, people like Ria Piecha, who was the national commissioner at that time, the provincial commissioner, Zukiso Mbombo, the politicians. It is for them, really, if they feel for the families and feel for the victims of the massacre, to share that information, to shed light, to say, actually, this is why we took that decision. These are the people that are behind. I mean, I know that there was a time, I think it was 4 years ago, where former National Commissioner Ria Piecha was complaining about how she carried most of the shame and the moral responsibility for the massacre, but that she was a small fish. And even then, our request to her was to simply say, then tell us what we do not know. Share with us, share with the country why we sit with this wound as a country of having had a massacre post our democracy.
That is Nomzamo Zondo sharing with us the political model and legal accountability that is yet to be seen, given that yesterday marked 13 years since the Marikana massacre. Nomzamo, we're going to pick up right where we are leaving off after the short break.
Penny Appeal's Education First campaign helps children to get access to quality education.
I'm 14 years old. When I grow up, I'd like to be a scientist.
We believe every child belongs at school,
And we want education, a better education.
learning and dreaming their way to a better future. With your help, we can provide classrooms, desks, stationery packs, and school shoes. Help make these dreams a reality. Visit www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty. Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school.
They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, buckies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
You South African, of course. You anxious about the future. We've got you covered. Build on your wealth portfolio with Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange. Visit us at 151 Stephen Dlamini Road, Musgrave, Durban, or call us on 031-202-4700 for more information. Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange, your passport to gold investment.
Conveniently located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park, as a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sounds of the African savannah will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park. Catering for all travelers with variety, we have 4 types of the finest rooms: superior rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroomed family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Good afternoon and assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Salam Media. You are tuned in with me, Fasiha Davids. I'm your host for this week. For those who just joined us, we are interviewing and speaking to Nomzamo Zondo, the Executive Director for the Socio-Economic Rights Institute of South Africa. Just before the ad break, Nomzamo, you were mentioning some incremental points around accountability and the difficulties that the families had to face that suffered during the Marikana incident 13 years ago. Where do things stand now with the compensation claims for the families and injured mine workers? Right, seems that we are experiencing some technical difficulties and we are not able to connect. We are trying to connect with Nomzamo Zondo, the Executive Director for the Socio-Economic Rights Institute of South Africa.
Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back after that break. We are connected with Nomzamo Zondo, the Executive Director for the Socio-Economic Rights Institute of South Africa. And we are speaking about the Marikana massacre after yesterday marks 13 years since the massacre took place. We explored the political leadership at the time and whether they faced adequate legal and moral accountability. Where things currently stand, Nomzamo, with the compensation claims for the families and injured mine workers, what update can you give us on that?
Sure. Thanks so much, Fatiha. So since 2019, there hasn't been any movement in terms of the compensation for the families that we represent. So as of the moment, 35 of the 37 families whose loved ones were killed by the police receive compensation only in the form of loss of support, being the money that the miners would have supported them with. There is currently an ongoing court matter, which is about several other claims, which includes an apology by the Minister of Police to the families, together with compensation claims for their pain, for the grief, for the fact they've lost either a spouse or family member or even a parent. We've also put a claim in for grief. Those claims are currently before the Pretoria High Court. We are currently in the process where we are engaged with the Deputy Judge President, the Acting Judge President, about getting a date for that hearing. In relation to the mine workers, I know that some of the claims were between them and the state were settled, specifically those that relate to some of the injured and those that were arrested. I know that there is an ongoing matter, which is a claim by the mine workers against Sibanye Stillwater, which bought the Lonmin mine, and President Ramaphosa. Unfortunately, I'm not able to give an update on those claims, as those claims are being litigated by other colleagues.
Thank you so much for sharing that insight with us, Nomzamo. Incredible to hear that since 2019, there kind of hasn't been any progress on some of the claims for the affected families. On the topic of financial compensation, I mean, do you think that if this were to be paid out, and I mean, like you said, with other litigation matters, you're not handling that, but if this were to be paid out, will this be enough in the absence of the criminal accountability, or does this risk becoming blood money?
I think it's not a matter of either or. In effect, for our clients, it's all of those things. They expected criminal accountability to have started even immediately. They expect that they should be compensated for all of their losses. And then again, this issue of the state acknowledging the injustice, acknowledging the massacre. And so it's not really a matter of you can say it will be blood money, but every loss that they suffered must be compensated, number one. But two, I know that as far back as 2015, our clients made a commitment, the families made a commitment to pursue criminal accountability for what happened. And in fact, one of the former members of our team, Mr. James Nichol, who's a solicitor who practices out of the UK, has shared with them about the Hillsborough disaster, where families had sought justice for close to 30 years. It was only on the third or fourth try that actually there was accountability for the deaths of people out of that Hillsborough disaster. And so even for them, the families believe that even if the state is unwilling to give it to them, even if the state is unwilling continue to fight either taking the matter outside of the South African justice system or pursuing it privately without the state support so that they can get justice.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about the families getting justice and those that were their lives were taken on the day, how are the widows and children of Marikana coping today? Were you able to engage with them recently? Do you know how they are doing, where their feelings are right now about the situation?
Look, I mean, I think it's been an ongoing challenge. Many of our clients have, for instance, struggled with their health. Family members have lost other people because of those health complications. There's been at least 2 suicides that were experienced by other families. And so the losses have been ongoing. But I think there's a word that we struggle with in South Africa, which is the word of resilience. I think despite all of that, our clients are resolute. They are resolute that they are going to fight for justice. And I know that part of what underpins that is their faith, that God will not let them down. That having had their loved ones killed in this brutal and painful way will not go down without justice. And also, it's been, I think, important for them to also keep their unity as the families who face this loss, so that they walk the journey together until there's justice. And so I think it's on the one hand of, yes, there's continuing pain, there's continuing difficulty, but on the other hand, there's this conviction to see the struggle through.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Nomzamo Zondo sharing with us the resilience and the resolute in the fight for justice of the Marikana community and affected families, given the Marikana massacre that took place 13 years ago. Do you feel Lonmin, now Sibanye Stillwater, has taken sufficient responsibility for its role in all of this?
We've been fortunate because we've had a number of engagements with Sibanye. They've even appointed solicitors to support them in their engagement with the families. And consistently, the message that we share with them and the message that our clients share with them is that even in the good things that they are doing to support the families, they do that. They do that as charity. But they do not acknowledge the wrongdoing of Lonmin. In fact, I know someone recently was sharing how the CEO of Sibanye said they bought a mine, they didn't buy a massacre. And so as if somehow Sibanye is not responsible for Lonmin. If they've bought Lonmin, Lonmin is now off the hook. And so the conversation has been about them acknowledging how the role that was played by Lonmin makes them accountable for what happened, number one. I think acknowledging that even in the interventions that they are making, knowing that those interventions are not charity and they're not a favor, they are an attempt by them to resolve a problem that was started by Lonmin, that was started by the predecessor of the mine. In fact, it's the very same mine that started the road to the massacre. And so I think for our clients, it's consistently that we can see that at least, unlike the state, they've volunteered certain interventions. They've provided some support to the families. But the one thing that they share together with the state is a failure to acknowledge the injustice, a failure to acknowledge the mine's responsibility in the matter.
Thank you so much for that. Nomzamo Zondo, the Executive Director for the Socio-Economic Rights Institute of South Africa, calling for justice for Marikana 13 years later. Thank you for joining us today, Nomzamo.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you for inviting us.